about this story is that, and listen, people. I even tonight, some people call say, "Well, you used to be a pastor. You used to." Well, so what? So what? But what bothers me about this is the legality of it. Okay, I'm starting to have a hard time grasping preachers and pastors that sue churches so that they can stay in the mix. I'm starting to not really understand that part of ministry. Okay, and it bothers me because when you have congregations that for years give and they support and they put in to the local church, they give to the local church, they give to pastor, and I got a lot of pastor preacher friends watching this tonight. Okay, trust me, I know, and you guys gotta bear with me tonight on this. This is nothing against you, but I've shared with you guys one-on-one, and this is why this is important, and this is why you need to be part of the movement as pastor and preacher, because many of you, you're my partners, but you've lost touch. Okay, so when people give into something, and I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is. The average person, when they give into something, they're looking and they're hoping on a return. Okay? When you put food down your mouth, you're giving your body food. You're hoping to get full. Okay? And it's no difference when people give to their church. They give to the church because they're hoping to receive something back in return. That is the whole concept of giving and receiving, planting and reaping a harvest. Okay? So they're hoping to get something back in return. And so when you have this Jesus money, because that's what they call it. When you have this Jesus money that has been given out year after year after year after year after year, and many times on the backs of people that really can't afford it, okay? And so then we get to this point in the junction where the congregation says we no longer desire your services, okay? Now, listen to me. I'm familiar with True Vine. True Vine was at one time one of the most upstanding black congregations in Rankin County. It's a beautiful Ephesus. The former pastor before this one was Reverend John Randall. Then you had then Langston came in. But it's a beautiful church, a beautiful community of people, a beautiful community of people, a beautiful church. Okay, and I followed this church a long time. I had a close dealing with many of the people in this church, and it's a beautiful church. It's a beautiful place to grow. Beautiful people. Okay, and prior to Langston coming, okay, prior to Reverend Langston coming, Pastor Randall had been there quite some time, and some things happened, and he left. But the core of this organization was able to stay intact, and it was able to move on. As time matriculated, Langston came, and at some point fractions began to happen inside of this loving congregation. Okay, and so then it came to the point where the deacons called a meeting and held the church vote, and they told him that he was no longer needed. Okay, now listen to this, people. What bothers me about this situation with Pastor Langston and True Vine is that once True Vine told him that he was no longer needed, and that his services were no longer needed at that facility, and they offered him, listen to me, they offered him a severance pay package. In other words, Not only did they say, listen, we want to cut ties with you, but we're going to pay you what we owe you, okay? We're going to pay you what we owe you, okay? And we're going to just cut ties apart. Now, Langston, to my knowledge of the lawsuit, took that severance pay. In other words, he took the package deal. He took the severance pay. And after taking the severance pay, then he comes back and tries to sue the church. Now, just listen to me. It is a sad indictment on any man that claims himself to be a man of God to sue, listen to me, people, the very institution that he is supposed to be upholding. Now listen to me, pastors. I listen to me real good. It's a sad indictment on your ministry. It's a sad indictment on your ministry to sue the very institution that you should be upholding. I don't care what happens. I don't care what takes place. The man of God should never summons the body of Christ to a courtroom. Never. No excuse. No excuse. And any pastor, I don't care if you're my friend, I don't care who you are, any pastor that does that is in it for all the wrong reasons. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, people. I'll tell you why. We as men of God are not called by the public. You're ordained and called by God. Now, if somebody called you and left a message on your answering machine and told you to go preach, then you got a problem. But if you know that God has called you to ministry, if you know that that is your calling, I don't care if you get put out of 10 churches. There's an 11th church waiting on you. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you get put out of 10, God got number 11 waiting on you. That's when you have to understand the calling that is upon your life. But you never summons the body of Christ to a courtroom because people decide that they no longer want to hear you from the pulpit. You never do that. You never do that. That is a sad indictment on the gospel. And we're seeing it more and more in the missionary Baptist church. We're seeing it more and more. More and more are we starting to see men fight for something that does not belong to you. The church doesn't belong to you, preacher.